In the Truman Show, which by the way is an incredible movie in terms of what it tries to do with like how, you know, are we living in an illusion of how things have been created around us through both our history and what we're doing, and that it's not the real reality type of aspect. Well,
that movie was ahead of its time.
Right?
It was that it gets better with time and how unbelievably intuitive
especially
it is.
if you're more awake to all this stuff, right? More aware of it. So in that movie, there's a specific moment where Truman has that epiphany, right? And that's what's so brilliant about this part in the movie. Because so clearly whoever's making it knew how powerful things can be to change people's mindsets. So in that movie, Truman's walking down the road and all of a sudden a light fixture falls out of the sky and crashes right in front of him. And he's like, but it had really nothing to do with the light. The light was a symbol. It wasn't really supposed to be a light. Yeah, you can pull it up. It was supposed to be a light in his head, right? It's like that moment of aha, or something that makes him realize that everything he's living in, or he's realizing he's changing his mindset, that it's not real, right?
And I'll put the picture in the corner of the screen.
Thank you. Thank you.
What does it say?
So Truman picks up the light, and of course, you're not going to ever see this unless you pause it at the exact moment. It's called an Easter egg. And it's an Easter egg they put in for very specific people to see. And on this light, which is the light where Truman has that awakening moment, it says Sirius Canis Major. Like, for that to be random, to me, is impossible. It's impossible.
I don't think you should say impossible, but it's highly improbable.
It's highly improbable, and it's just strange because here I am, the thing that was a spark for me was the Dogon with Sirius Canis Major. That was like, and there's no one else, there's no other culture on Earth that talks about Sirius, besides Egypt, but that talks really about it, talks about the orbital tracks or anything. So, and again, and at the same time, I want to point out that the Queen's Chamber of the Great Pyramid of Giza also points towards Sirius. So I think that it's a combination of both, because that also points to the fact that, well, look, they're pointing at star constellations and not a tomb, right? And so then you add another layer to it. Well, when did it point towards that? And we're going to swing right back to where we started, where John Anthony West and Graham Hancock and Robert Bauval and all these guys were like studying ancient alignments because of the precession of the equinox with the Earth, the wobble. It does not face the same place throughout all time. It faces different positions based on different ages. Now, if people don't know that, each age where is a zodiac is 2,100 years. Okay? So the entire zodiac is like 25,000 years. That's called the Great Year. That's how they track time. The ancient people of Göbekli Tepe would track time based on the Great Year. So their year was 25,500 years, 26,000 years. And so what it means is that because the Earth only points towards specific constellations at certain time periods every 2,100 years, they try to align both Orion and Sirius with the Great Pyramid of Giza, and they could not do it until at least 13,000 years ago. But the one before that is like 26,000, and then there's like a 38,000. So what John Anthony West did is he goes, well, wait, guys. I know this might seem crazy because you guys think it's 13, and that's already extreme for the mainstream. But he's like, look, the Great Sphinx is facing also something, and it's part of the same structures. The Great Sphinx is facing Leo. But because the Great Sphinx is not a pharaoh. It was recarved. It used to be a lion. That's why the body is so disproportional to the head.
Makes sense.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the Great Sphinx used to be a lion because the lion was the great protector and guardian of the ancient world. And the Great Sphinx happens to have 3 entrances down into the underworld under Giza because it was the guardian to the gateway. That's why it was a lion.
That is some full circle shit.
Ain Dara, remember their lion was this.
Yep.
The whole thing is that all these cultures were connected. So the lion, the eagle, the serpent, these are like the most important symbols in history. Now, so what it means is then, it means that Jonathan West looked at that and he's like, wait. So when did the Queen's Chamber, the King's Chamber align to Sirius and Orion? And then when did the Great Sphinx align to Leo? And he took the whole thing together. And then he took this ancient time that's depicted in murals called Zep Tepi, the first time, and they added up the king's list on what's called the Turin Kings list. So there's an ancient king list in Egypt that people don't even know about. That's just like the Sumerian ones. And the early depictions of the ancient kings is a lot longer reigns than the ones later, just like the Sumerians. And in that, they determined that the kings list adds up to the time period of Zep-Tepi to 38,000 years ago. And Leo exactly aligns to the Great Sphinx exactly aligns to Leo, and the Queen and King's Chamber align to those 38,000 years ago. And he argues, and I agree with him, he argues that the Younger Dryas period would have been way too volatile to build any of those structures. And I think he's right. I think that the Great Pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx are 38,000 years old. And if Atlantis is 50,000 years old, it makes complete sense because supposedly the Great Pyramids of Giza were created out of the ashes of Atlantis.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.